Hey guys, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Udayan Banerjee, who is the co-founder of Clareco, which provides enhanced air purification and clean air solutions to its customers. Udayan has attended IIT Varanasi for bachelor's in technology. Udayan has also worked for 6 years with companies like Vedanta, Oya Rooms, and K12 Technical Services before starting his own venture, that is Clearco. Udayan has been part of Forbes 30 under 30 Asia 2020, winner of NATC by NASCOM, and been a part of Business Today Coolest Startups. So, hi Udayan, welcome to Entrepreneur Launch of India.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Udayan, would you mind introducing yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. So, hi guys. My name is Udayan, as Priya rightly introduced me. So, I'm from a place called Bhilai, which is in Chhattisgarh,
Mm-hmm.
and I did my schooling from Delhi Public School, Bhilai. And he said, I did my BTech from IIT BHU, and during college also I tried a couple of few startups here and there. Nothing at a larger scale, but I always was into entrepreneurship. After multiple attempts, multiple startups, every failure, it was a learning. And gradually, as I got into my corporate career, I realized that entrepreneurship is something which I wanted to do in the long run. That's why I designed my career and planned it accordingly. So obviously, not everything went according to the plan, but long story short, so here we are. Uh, I hope you guys I am able to inspire you guys with my story, and even if one person gets inspired to start their own venture through this interview, I would consider it to be a success.
Uh, Udayan, tell us about your venture. What is Clearco?
Yeah, so Clearco is basically short for Clean Air Company. So what we do is that we've developed technologies which can convert air ventilation systems into air purification systems. We primarily function in the large centrally air conditioned spaces. So it's a B2B startup for commercial estate, which basically means offices, tech parks, malls, schools, colleges, any place where centrally air conditioned air handling units are there. So what we have done is that we have developed special filters we retrofit onto this air handling units so that they become a air purification system. So the problem that we're solving is typically that before without Clearco the air purification was really expensive, and it was a lot of high capital expenditure driven, because of which even when the need was there for air purification, but the adoption was very low. So at Clearco, that is what we have been able to crack upon, and we're gradually growing and solving this problem.
So the next question is, when did you think of becoming an entrepreneur?
Right. So it was not one day decision or something like that. So it actually started when I was in school itself. Like I always used to be wonder about like when I used to read about businesses and entrepreneurs. I used to read a lot about entrepreneurs in general. So one thing that always struck me was everybody has 24 hours in a day, but there are some people who are able to accomplish so much more in the same time, and they are able to set up multiple businesses and grow like $1 billion multi-billion dollar companies in the same 24 hours, which everybody has, right? So that is how it always started, that what is it that they do that it becomes so huge, and it's not just about the money aspect, but also the impact that big companies are able to create. So from my school days, 11, 12th grade, when I was there, so I was preparing for IIT JEE, but it was always on the back of the mind ki life may I want to become an entrepreneur at some point of time. I'm from a middle class background. My dad worked in a public sector company, so I had no clue how to do that, obviously. But it was always there. And then when I entered college, I got exposure, little more exposure, and I was also part of something called the Jagriti Yatra.
Okay.
So the Jagriti Yatra is basically a train journey of entire year India, which is done in 15 days, where we meet multiple entrepreneurs at each destination and understand their business, their what they have done. So that was a journey which was very inspirational for me, and that was something where I definitely decided that okay, I want to do entrepreneurship. And then I started my first startup also after. So that was in third year of college. So after coming back from the Jagriti Yatra, I started my first startup, which was called Ethnic Banaras. So I was in Varanasi, and it was into Varanasi silk, those kind of aspects. I ran it for almost like 8-10 months during my final year of my college. My plan was to take it full time, raise funds and stuff like that, but it didn't happen. At that point of time, I didn't have the maturity or the leadership that is required to set up a company. But it didn't work out. But it did. I did get to learn a lot about uh, business management, and we won a few B plan competitions. So my business skills got fine tuned. So that was the first experience with entrepreneurship. After that, I also tried another startup during my first job. Parallelly, I tried to do something in education sector. So I have so during with every job parallelly, I was always trying to set up something, and I always knew that I, I didn't see myself working for a company for throughout my life. So it was very clear to me that by the time before I'm 30, I have to have a startup, full-time startup, which I'm running. So that is what fortunately happened. So, like I said, it was a process, but yeah, uh, you can say around 2011-12 was the time when I decided that entrepreneurship is something that I wanted to do.
So, since you mentioned about Jagriti Yatra, what we are doing at ELI is not very different from Jagriti Yatra. We are trying to
Right.
we are trying to bring entrepreneurs to people,
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's a digital version of
you can say that.
yeah.
So, relating to that, here comes my next question. So, it it is evident that inspiration plays a big part in uh, shaping someone as an entrepreneur. So, uh, who has been your inspiration or your role model during this journey?
Can you repeat that question? Your voice was cracking in between.
So, I was asking, who has been your inspiration in this entrepreneur journey? Who is your role model?
Role model, see, so I am really inspired by Elon Musk. I have read his books also.
Okay.
Elon Musk, obviously he's a visionary, and he's changing the world as we know it. And whatever happens in the next century will be because what he's doing right now, right? So Elon Musk is someone who is the epitome of entrepreneurship for me. Obviously, he's a very big yardstick to follow, but that is someone whom I really admire, and you can say is my role model. I don't really have a like role model as such that I want to follow exactly what they do, but the value system and the thought process that Elon Musk has, that create value in the world and do something which leaves an impact even beyond our own lifespan. Like we live for 50, 60 years, 70 years, but if we create a company or anything which has a legacy and which continues to create value even when we are not there, that is something which really uh, is actually my goal in life, you can say.
Okay. So, when you started your venture, how did your family react to it, and what was their support, or how did they react to it?
Right. So, family reactions is like I said, I'm from a middle class family and that too Bengali background. So, in my entire family line, nobody has really tried to set up a business or something. Although my mom did run a boutique for 8 years. So, maybe from her only I got this spark of building my own business. But other than that, so yeah, the reaction was obviously it's an unconventional thing to do. So they had their own concerns and apprehensions, and the risk associated with is huge. And with the pandemic suddenly, so nobody could predict how 2020 is going, right? So these kind of uncertainties are always there. But while they have not been obviously overtly supportive about ki, okay, you do whatever you want, but obviously they have not been too opposing also. So they know that okay, I told them, see, worst to worst case, I'll find another job any day, right? So that's not a very big deal. So the only concern parents and family will always have is that of a security. So and they are right in uh, their own mindset, obviously. So they want us to be secure and safe, and they don't want us to fail. And because entrepreneurship, while everything is sounds very cool and everything, but it actually tests your character to the extreme level. So when you really go down to doing it, you realize that it's really, really tough, and it takes a toll on your mental wellness also.
Okay.
Uh, you don't have any work-life balance, no uh, support in the sense of like no security, nothing is there.
Mm.
So obviously that reaction was there, but opposition will always be there from friends, family when you want to do something different. The only thing which I would always suggest to people is that if we are clear what we want to do and we just go ahead and do it, no matter what if people are saying, there will be some friction here and there, थोड़ा बहुत झगड़ा होगा घर में, that is fine, we should be mentally ready for it. But once we start gaining little bit success, people start recognizing कि okay ठीक है, whatever he is doing something worthwhile.
Mm.
And the success will also obviously not come very easily, but yeah, it will come at some point of time. If you keep doing it, if it will at some point of come. So the reaction was mixed reaction, I will say.
Mhm.
Right now also they are mixed reaction only.
Okay.
So as long jab tak ekdam it becomes a very big company, they will always be apprehensive. So I can't help it.
Okay. And again, speaking of uh, family and apprehensions, uh, did you have the financial runway to pursue your dream? There are two parts to it. Surviving the course of the time, also uh, investing in your venture. There are two different investments in this particular phase. How did you
Right.
manage the money?
Right. So here I would also like to add that your life partner. So I am married, and so my wife has been a big support here.
Okay.
So she has also like, it's a love marriage. We knew each other before I started this.
Hmm.
So she has supported the dream, and she's working with Amazon, and she has a decent, stable income coming in.
Hmm.
So that has been a big relief because I don't really have to worry too much about my day-to-day expenses when I started.
Okay.
Having said that, obviously, since I was working for a few years, so I saved up. So the plan was always that save kar lo thoda paisa so that I can start something.
Hmm.
And also, obviously, I have a co-founder, Ayush. He has also put in money, obviously. So initially, when we started, we pulled in money and we
Hmm.
uh, started it, and gradually then we got some investment from investors. And
Hmm.
so financially it has to be planned, obviously. One day suddenly if we decide that I want to start up, so it has to have numbers backing up, okay, this many months of runway I have, and within this many months, so we had this kind of a target care, within this many months we have to at least raise some funds so that we can continue it. So that is how it has happened. So we have obviously, since I worked for almost 6 years before starting up, so I had some savings which I put in, and Ayush put in the majority. So he is the CEO and founder of the company. So he has also put in money from his pocket. So both of us did that.
Got it. So again,
And right now also obviously we continue. Please go ahead.
okay. So would like to ask, how were your initial days? What was the first thing you did when you started your venture? Then how did you get your first set of customer? So anything on that?
Yeah, so it's an interesting story actually. So what happened is, so I'll just tell you how it started. So uh, what happened is, so why we got into air purification in the first place is because, so my co-founder Ayush, his father, so we both of us are school friends by the way. So we are both from Bhilai,
Okay.
and both our fathers worked in Bhilai steel plant.
Hmm.
So his dad got transferred to Delhi in 2016, and during that time in 2016 Diwali was the first time when the pollution was really like, the Delhi pollution peaked like anything, right? So his dad got sick and he got admitted to hospital.
Okay.
And when he came back, he realized that he had to purchase air purifiers.
Hmm.
And the air purifiers for, so he had a 4 BHK apartment in Delhi, government apartment. So it, they required almost 5 6 air purifiers. So they were collectively costing, and then they needed a air quality monitor. So all those combined was costing almost more than 1 lakh rupees.
Okay.
So and there was no guarantee that still it is working fine or not.
Hmm.
So that was the first. And then he called me, yeah, this is what it is. So what do you think about it? And that's when how we got into the idea, yeah, this is a big problem that needs to be solved, because not everybody can afford this kind of, and why is it so expensive? So we got down to it and we figured out, okay, this purifier is nothing but a fan and a filter. So what kind of filter? So we got into the research mode, and then we find out, okay, this is what something we can do is that we can put the filter in the AC itself. So the AC turns into a air purifier. That was the initial idea that happened. So once that happened, we what we did was we made a small air quality monitor ourselves, and we went into different like Burger King and CCD and different gyms and just measured air quality data.
Hmm.
So we gathered data and we saw that the indoor air quality was really bad as compared to the outdoor. And
Okay.
that's how we started talking to people about it. And so Ayush is himself a serial entrepreneur, and he has multiple. He had tried one startup before, and then he was also, just like I was working with different startups. He also used to work with different startups. So someone connected us with CultFit, and CultFit became our first customer. So that's how. So we went into a cult gym and we measured air quality there,
Okay.
and someone collected us to cult and we showed them that this is your air quality inside your gym. And he was really shocked and he was like, what you can do about it? And then we said, okay, we can put these filters into your AC, and we showed him the improvement and he was really happy. So that's how the first like soft pilot went away, and then he gave us the larger business. So that's how, so it's basically we were just trying out and understanding the market, and that's how we stumbled upon our first customer.
Okay.
So when we really start, there is no structure as such. So I'll always suggest is that first step is to understand the market and the customer. That is the first step everybody should start with, because most people, when we start thinking about entrepreneurship, okay, today's day one. From today, I have started my company. So what should I do? You don't have anything to do, right? So the
Right.
first thing is to obviously develop the product, and once the product is developed, test it out in the market. That is called the MVP, minimum viable product. So
Hmm.
another mistake which people do is that they keep developing the product and they want it to be perfect, because every entrepreneur is very emotionally attached to their product, right? So they
Hmm.
want it to be perfect before launching.
Hmm.
But there has to be a balance that, okay, keep trying and keep testing it on the market while you keep developing your product. It will never be a perfect product unless we launch it, because once we launch it, we get feedback from the market, from the customer, and then only we improve it and change it and update it depending upon what the customer wants.
Hmm.
Right. So the first step should always be develop the product, test it out in the market, start talking to people, and then things start gradually rolling from there. And then so now we have a whole stack of, so our product has also improved a lot, and obviously our customer base has also improved a lot. So this was like 2 years ago, by the way.
Mhm. And based on what uh, you had planned initially, it seems like there was no plan, but again, at some point, you would have projected some numbers or some milestones. Based on that particular day, how far have you reached, and what is your end goal? What is your vision?
Right. So no plan was obviously there. So we did have a B plan when we started. So,
Hmm.
uh, but we have done a pivot, small pivot. So earlier when we started, we thought we'll do both central AC, non-central AC. Now we only do central AC.
Okay.
So in terms of milestones, obviously we have not reached all the milestones that we had planned to reach by this point of time, because mostly around fundraise. Because the problem that we are solving is very new, and the VCs and the investors don't really have a uh, benchmark to judge us
Hmm.
upon.
Hmm.
So what we have managed to do till now is that from business wise, we did have had the milestones that we wanted to reach. Partially, we have reached, but the vision, if you see, the vision for us is always to ensure. So we want to ensure 1 million people breathe clean air through Clearco by the
Okay.
year 2023. That you can say the vision. And
Hmm.
the longer vision is obviously to ensure that everybody breathes clean air.
Hmm. 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 Right. Right. So, what are the challenges you faced along the way while building this company and making this product? And which of those challenges did you not foresee coming?
Hello. Yeah, your video paused in between.
Okay. So, my question was, what are the challenges you faced along the way, and
Mm.
which of the challenges you did not foresee?
Yeah, so we didn't foresee most of the challenges. So we did foresee some challenges, but that those challenges didn't happen. But the challenges that did come, we didn't really foresee them.
Okay.
So yeah, so the first challenge was obviously to build the product itself, because it's a very technical product. So we don't really, it didn't have a background of it. So we had to do a lot of, like, we had to study a lot around it. So
Hmm.
since I am from engineering background, it was easier for me to brush up and catch up with it. But the bigger challenge has always been the what do you say, the funding and the, what do you say, getting payments from customers. So since our customers are real estate players, so the payments are always delayed. And when initially when we started, we had to bootstrap, and then at every juncture, just before a fundraise, we used to run out of money, and then those couple of months used to be really tight, and then again we raise flush next raise round of money, then things are getting stabilized. So the challenge has always been the cash flow, managing the cash flow aspect, which we did realize that it will be difficult, but
Hmm.
sometimes it becomes really difficult because the payments are really gets really delayed. That is one challenge, and the other is obviously the product and the certification around it. So to
Hmm.
get a certification for our product costs like more than 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs rupees.
Okay.
So that is something which we didn't foresee at
Hmm.
all. We thought, yeah, if the product is good, why do we need to get certification? But gradually we are realizing that without certification, we can't really scale to a very huge level.
Hmm.
That is something which is something which we have recently realized.
Okay.
And mostly another challenge has been uh, the hard, because obviously the corona, this COVID-19 pandemic, this is a huge challenge. Because in March, when lockdown happened, our entire
Hmm.
operations got disrupted. I'm sure most startups have faced this.
Right.
So since our most of the things were coming from China, most
Hmm.
of the hardware, so the China import has stopped. So we
Hmm.
are figuring out alternative ways to do that. So these kind of challenges which we didn't really anticipate. So nobody could anticipate in 2018 that 2020 में China से कुछ तुम मंगा नहीं सकोगे, right? So
Right.
that is something which is posing a big challenge for us, but we are managing. Yeah. So the solution is also, so as the challenges keep coming up, we keep solving them, and then the another aspect is also the operational cost and the team. So leadership hiring has also been a challenge. So we did hire people over the last 1 year for our leadership roles, but that didn't work out. So that is
Okay.
something also. So at the early stages of startup, what happens is that finding the right people for the leadership positions is very important.
Hmm.
But if that doesn't happen properly, then you tend to feel that यार बहुत पूरा time waste हो गया. So that kind of challenges are also there.
Okay. Okay. So speaking of hiring, uh, w- startups have to trade off between um, money and then good candidate. You cannot hire people who are just too good because they are also equally expensive. Also, you cannot go after people who are not were just not up to the mark. So, how do you manage such a situation? What did you do? Also, let's say you hire someone and he would become your head of a department, for example, head of marketing, and then your
Hmm.
startup grows. What do you do with that particular that particular person? Do you make him the same leader he is, uh, and recruit people up below him, or do you once your startup scales up and you get funding, you hire more experienced person above him, and how is it?
See, so we have not reached the stage yet where we are hiring, like we have gotten Series A funding or something, and we are hiring
Hmm.
people above the existing people. So right now, see, two, three things what we have to understand while hiring for early stage startups is that the person has to be aligned with the vision. And
Hmm.
like you rightly said, we can't afford too much expensive people. But if uh, someone is looking just for a salary hike, then early stage startup is not the right place for them.
Hmm.
This we make it clear very at the, like, whenever we have to hire people, we make it clear from day one that this is the salary that you are going to get.
Hmm.
And then we get in the, obviously somebody who comes at this early stage, they will get some ESOP in the company, some good ESOP, and that is what retains them.
Hmm.
And more often than not, it's mostly the what their ambition is also with their life. So most, so for example, I have also worked with
Hmm.
early stage startups before. So
Okay.
my aspiration was always to learn and start my own startup at some point of time, right? So
Hmm.
so we always look for people who want to become entrepreneurs going forward.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if they want to become entrepreneurs, why they are coming is not because of the paycheck. They will be coming because what they want to learn from that experience. And when they want to learn from the experience, they will work really well.
Hmm.
And if it really works out, then like you said, they will grow with the company. So we ensure, so we do have a couple of people in our team who have joined with a salary cut from the previous company,
Hmm.
and they are working fine because they themselves see a vision for themselves in Clearco. So as Clearco grows,
Hmm.
their profile will also grow, their stature within the company will also grow, and it's a different kind of a feeling. So we look for people who are like us. So the feeling is that building something from scratch, if
Hmm.
somebody enjoys this aspect of building a company from scratch, and somebody says, this is what I want to do, that's why I want to come, then we see realize that this is the right fit. Because if somebody is just coming just for another job कि अच्छा previous job में ऐसा था अभी ऐसा है, then obviously it will not work with them.
Understood. I think we are very short of time, so I'll rush through. So my next question is, how do you compare entrepreneurship with a 9 to 5 job? I think you have been through both. You're the right person to comment on that.
How do you compare?
Yeah, compare entrepreneurship with
What
the
was the question?
9 to 5 job.
Yeah, see, 9 to 5, never been in a 9 to 5 job as such, because I've worked with startups. So for me, it was never 9 to 5.
Mm,
But yeah, my first job was kind of a 9 to 5 job. See, it depends upon person to person. For some people, it works out. They really want a stable job with, they don't want too much drama in their life. So
mm,
for them, it works out. For me personally, if you say 9 to 5 job was, for me, it was very suffocating. I used to, so I have this tendency to extrapolate my entire life like that. So I used to wonder कि यार ये जिंदगी पर अगले 30 साल तक I can't do this. So for me it was very suffocating, and it was like yeah, I'm not doing what I wanted to do. And right now there's a lot of instability around, but if you ask me, this is the happiest I have been in terms of my professional satisfaction.
right. And how our audience can start their entrepreneurial journey?
Right. So see, the first thing that everybody needs to understand is that we really have to introspect and understand whether we, first of all, whether we want to do entrepreneurship or not. If we
Mhm,
are really sure कि okay, this is what I want to do, then we have to search for a problem that we really care about. Because what happens is that you go too much, you stretch yourself this much for only for things which you really care about. If you don't care about, if we didn't care about air pollution, then we wouldn't take so much hardship, right?
mhm,
So the problem has to really resonate personally with the person, with the entrepreneur, so that they, when they solve it, they really want to solve it. And then when their solution to, when the first iteration of of their solution, it
mhm,
has to, it will not work out in the first iteration, right? So they have to keep working on it, so that improving, right? So for that, lot of hardship or lot of mental toughness is required. And for that, the first thing has to be, whatever problem they're solving through their entrepreneurship, it has to be really close to their heart.
mhm,
That's the first step. Once they have decided the problem that they want to solve, and then they have some idea to solve it,
mhm.
then the first, obviously, just go ahead and start working on it. So there's no point thinking about, yeah, I'll do it this year, next year. So it doesn't really work like that. Worst case scenario, what will happen is that it will not work out, but
Okay.
it will be an experience worth having. So
Mhm.
that's how people should really approach it, in my opinion.
Right. So this is my last question. What would be your final message to potential entrepreneurs of this country?
Okay, so my final message is that ki don't do anything just because you want to impress somebody in life, even if it is entrepreneurship.
Okay.
If it is not what you want to do really, then don't do it,
Hmm.
because it will not work out otherwise.
Okay. It was a pleasure to have you here at ELI. I think our audience would have got lifetime lessons from this video. Thanks for
Thank
your
you so
time,
much, Ria.
and our
Thank you
best
so much.
wishes
Thank you for having me.
for Clareco.
Thank you for the wishes. Nice to meet you.
Viewers, you can follow Udan on LinkedIn by searching for Udan Banerjee. Also, do visit Clearco website by typing clearco.in. So, whom do you want to have here at ELI for next episode? Do let me know in comments below. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We will be back before you know it. Stay tuned to Entrepreneur Lounge of India. Take care.
Thank you.